to the people's house, baby, baby. Can you love me? Get me go crazy. If you feel me, I feel you. And welcome to the Wizard School. Cause we love you, birdseed. We love you, birdseed. And it's about you and me. We come to here, sip the tea. All allegedly, no cap. All allegedly, not speaking facts. But it could be, just might. Sometimes you get that new me, birdseed on me. Gang. Okay, so Martel Holt has an interview with Tasha K, and it's only one part of the interview that I see that I actually didn't even see besides on advertising because the whole interview was kind of long and I didn't sit there and watch the whole thing in one sitting. And it kind of started off kind of slow. I'm not gonna lie. It was not really many juicy parts from what I did see. It was really just her trying to get information about him, his background, his feelings about things. And she kept probing about Mel. Like, obviously they're not together. Like, you don't have to probe about Mel. Like, why somebody gets with somebody is not really that important. But she was like, I want people to see you as human. I want to know why you want to get with Mel. Why do you think he got with Mel? He got Mel because he wanted to start a family. He was attracted to her. He had things in common with her. Found out he was a teacher too. Mel was a teacher. In training, and then they met in college. So, like, I feel like she was pushing that issue. I love the fact that he got to give her his wine, and she said she enjoyed it because he does have a new wine out. But the kicker that really got me was the point that really made me want to watch the interview, but I really didn't get to see it because I guess it got to the meat towards the end. I'm gonna have to watch the last few parts of it, maybe backwards. I'm not sure, but the front end of the talk was like, get to the freaking point, you know? Now, some of the stuff was interesting, I'm not gonna lie, because I did find out about Martels and stuff that I did not know. And, he's kind of a debonair guy, and it's kind of interesting to see how he came up, especially since his brother didn't come up the same way. And he talked about being kind of a bad child for a while. So, part of that was interesting to find out about him because I did not know that about him. And it kind of makes me want to know, like, what kind of person he is. But he said something that I'm glad that he said because for so long, so many people have been calling Arrionne, who's the woman that he had an affair with outside of his marriage, that sent the world into a frenzy and had a baby by her and has a child with her and currently still has dealings with her, despite the fact that his previous baby mother, Melody, says she doesn't want anything else to do with him and gave him several chances. And she even brought up the fact that Melody waited 7 years before she dipped. But at the same time, like, I respect that because as a woman, you're going to do whatever you can to save your marriage before you say, I'm done. So if it took 7 years for you to figure this out, it just took 7 years to figure that issue out because a lot of times people just give up. Like, marriage is a process, marriage is a thing, and you don't want to just end it quickly. Like, some people want to make sure they're done before they're done. Like, she tried to go to church with her husband. She felt like he had the problem, and the fact that she was patient with that, understanding. To me, that shows me love. Like, you may not be perfect, but I'm gonna try to work this thing out with you. I'm gonna try to have your back. I'm gonna try to have your corner. And that's not spoken about a lot. Like, a lot of people dog Melody for sticking around. And I'm gonna say this: like, if you call yourself a Christian, for one, not saying she does or she don't, because I really don't follow that too much. But it's like, in the Bible, we really don't talk about divorce. And feel like God bless you with your spouse or your heavenly marriage or whatever, then you're going to be tempted by the outside forces, the devil, because this is a spiritual war that we're in. And so if you don't pray that thing through, if you don't try to seek that thing through, trust in God, have faith that it will work out, then you can't say yourself as a Christian woman and a home. And I think she does claim that. And that's her prerogative. But at the same time, it's like so many people feel like to say that they're Christian, this and this and that, but they are judgmental. They don't put up with a lot of stuff. They give up too easily, and then a lot of them are divorced. But it's really not much to say about divorce in the Bible. However, I'm not saying that it was perfect and that she should have stayed. What I'm saying is, like, I respect the fact that she did stay, because at the end of the day, nobody's perfect. People deal with their own battles, their own demons. And if you care about somebody, you love somebody, you don't just throw in a towel the first time they do something. If you're able to do that, then you have to question the fact that you really care for that person, that you really love that person in real life. A lot of times it's because you don't. If you can't deal with something like mediocre that you can get over the hump with, then you really can't say, oh yeah, I love that person for real. You really can't. So that's just so in an interview, he's asked about, you had a side chick, Ariane, and he jumps in rapidly to say she was never a side chick. Please don't label her as that. She was my other woman. And I love that he said that, because that makes sense. Because literally, he had a baby with her. So that means he was doing things to have a child with her. And people are up here ravishing, tarnishing her name. And that's like my first time seeing, despite calling her a peasant, despite trying to get back with Melody, despite all this. And that's my first time for me seeing like him stand up for the mother of his child, his second child, like, well, his fifth child, the other woman. Like, I just love that, because at the end of the day, regardless of what they go through, if they are together or not, I don't really know, because it was taught that they have had dealings and they're still in dealings and have moved in together, a lot of different talks. The fact is, like, at the end of the day, Ariane had his back. And I feel like if he wasn't going through stuff and needed someone to talk to, he really wouldn't have ran the way he did to Ariane. But that wasn't a kicker. I kept wondering, like, why he keep running back. And yeah, the side chick is usually somebody you think of, oh yeah, I just want to fudge. But I feel like it was deeper than that. I feel like there was a chemistry between them. I feel like he was feeling refreshed and rejuvenated because of her. And I feel like he liked being around her. I feel like he liked her company. And that's why maybe they kind of have a private relationship now, or an in and off, on and off again relationship now, a friendship now, because they had mutual respect for each other. And I feel like you can't be considered a side piece if you have somebody having respect for you. If you have somebody who gonna pay your bills, help you out if you need your bills paid. A person who want to genuinely have a child with you, or doesn't care if they have a child with you. A person who is going to keep running back to you over and over, despite the fact they supposed to have a good thing at home. So what he was basically inferring, that she was more than just a side piece, and he told people not to disrespect her and call her a side. And I love that, because so many people have tarnished her name, try to make her look bad, don't even call her by her real name. They call her coleslaw, which is so disgusting. Like, nobody likes coleslaw for real, even though coleslaw has been a delicacy among the rich and on some of their meals, their main dish meals. But like, a lot of people don't appreciate coleslaw, and people were getting a kick out of calling her the side, calling her the coleslaw. And I kept saying, if he keep doubling back, who really is the side? Or is it the main? Because people fail to memorize. They see marriage as a be all end all. If you get married, like, you accomplish some feat. Baby, I've been married to several people that I didn't even give a fudge about. Like, marriage is just a piece of paper. Marriage is just really taking your relationship to another level. Now, some people put a marriage on this high pedestal, like, if you once you get married, like, the person just changes and they evolve and they can never do any wrong ever in life. Marriage is a choice. You don't just say, okay, I never see anybody again, I never want anybody again. Marriage is a choice to constantly say, this is the person I want to be with, this is the family I want to be in. It's not that it's a win all be all. Marriage is just something that's on a piece of paper. That's all. Like, if you didn't have the piece of paper, you really can't even say like you're married. So to be honest, marriage is really just a high level of commitment and relationship. And he basically was saying, like, legally he couldn't marry Ariane. So it was giving the impression that if he could have got away with having more than one wife, which is surprising to me, but it's not surprising, because I do know polygamy exists in the world today. And it was giving me more like, if he could have had a three-way relationship, like have Melanie cool with Ariane, Ariane cool with Melody, and he still do what he want, go back and forth and flip flop, or even be under the same household as a polygamous relationship, that's something he would have done. So if you're in a polygamous relationship, you definitely don't have a side. But he basically was saying that in America that you only can have one wife. And I feel that, and I understand that. And that's how so many relationships, marriages fail. Let's talk about it. Let's be for real. A lot of relationships fail because the one thing you're missing in that one person, you go out of your marriage to find in somebody else. Or maybe that's two things you may be missing or feeling like you're missing in your person. You go out and try to find it in somebody else. Even though you have to realize you can find all that in yourself first, and you really have to look anywhere else because you make yourself whole and you don't necessarily need nobody else to make you whole. And when you find your other half, it's just like finding your other whole. Like somebody else is already whole and they come into space with you. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to make you feel away, make you happy. They can contribute to your happiness, but they're not the end all or be all of your being happy, protected, loved, admired, honored. It's a two-way street, and if you don't feel love, admired, honored in a relationship you in, you just might happen to seek it from other people and outside sources. And that's basically what he was saying. That, well, that's basically, he didn't say that, but that's the impression that I got when he stepped out so many times on his marriage. And people were like, oh, that's a bad guy. I mean, I feel like anybody should do that. I don't care if you have signed a dotted line paper. If your spouse is making you feel unworthy, unloved, like a imbecile, they don't want to have sex with you. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, if you can't do certain acts on your own husband, but you're doing this to other people, really, are you really that in love with that person? And he was only craving for certain things. That's why he got so offended when she was seen doing certain things allegedly with other people. But yet, I have bad boy you children. I am your husband. I am your spouse. And you can't physically please me in that way that I like to be pleased. Not ever, or hardly ever, or it's a job. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I really am not a big person on certain acts, but if I'm in love with somebody, like I really cherish that person, like I don't mind doing certain things, but in the bedroom. But if I feel like they get on my nerves, they're annoying, they stress me out, then I rarely want to do said things, and it just is what it is. So I feel like he just felt less of a man. I feel like he wasn't feeling like worship, admired from his spouse, and so he chose to go outside relationship to find that a person who didn't mind doing certain things, or maybe, or a certain person who didn't mind lifting him up. Because I feel like he was a broken man. Any man that wants to go outside of his marriage is broken, in my opinion, whether it's inwardly, outwardly, emotionally, physically. I feel like that's what causes a lot of men to step out. Now, does it make it right or wrong? I'm not saying that it does, but at the end of the day, I still respect the fact that he acknowledged the fact that he wasn't repeatedly going back to this woman just to screw her, because so many people wanted to say that about her, and now they're in a relationship. If they were just a screw, then they wouldn't be in a relationship today, or talking, or dating, or him helping take care of her and her responsibilities and her needs, make sure she's good. If it was just a fling and ding, I'm gone. So I'm glad he said that, even though it may not change a lot of people's opinion, because some people are salty, some people are bitter, some people are just evil. But the fact that he stood up for her and he said that, to be honest, I feel like that's the most truthful he's been in a long time, because I feel like he didn't want to admit the fact. Like, some men would love to have more than one wife. And in the Bible time, some people used to have more than one wives, concubines, wives. Like, sometimes it's been said that men say they can't be faithful to one person. So it takes a lot for a man to say, oh, I want just one wife, one woman. Like, you got to be extraordinary. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the man don't love you or care for you. It just really, I feel like how a lot of men are built and made up. They have to genuinely have so much respect, so much desire, so much love for you to say, look, I can only be with you. Because they're getting tempted so often. There's so many more women than men, and there's so many more beautiful women. And I'm not saying that men have the right to cheat. I'm just saying some men are more prone to cheat. And the fact that he can acknowledge, because especially his Capricorns, when they get a certain age, a lot of them don't just freely dearly hand out what they hand out. Like they're more selective, like because they're really people that don't even really like people for real. So um when you get into a sign, different things, like that's something that they really just don't do. So I don't really know how the world's going to take that, but I gained a lot more respect for him for saying that. And I also give respect for him for not speaking on Melody, because Melody had her run. She has a whole show. Ariane hasn't really had a chance to defend herself because she hasn't been publicly on a show, but she has been on lives and she's been attacked. But the fact that he gave Millie a chance to get back with her, and I do feel like, even though it's crazy, it's twisted, I do feel like he did have love for Millie. I feel like he didn't like she didn't love him in a way that he desired for her to, in all aspects. Not saying in no aspects. I'm saying, like, I'm sure with some ways that she did, but I feel like in all aspects it was some things that he wanted her to do differently, and that wasn't the case. And you only can wait so long before you decide finding somebody else who is willing to do that for you. And in the process, I just feel like he just gained more feelings and more feelings for Ariane because she was the person who was feeling that need that he needed at that time. And I don't feel like that makes a person love somebody person. They just say you have a special thing you like done in the bedroom, or you have a feel for fantasy, special need, and you're the person that's supposed to love you, cherish you, or whatever is choosing not to do that, or they don't feel comfortable doing it, and you decide to go do it and experience it outside of your marital bed. I don't really feel like I do feel like it's cheating because on paper that's cheating, but at the same time, it's like the person who's supposed to be loving me is not wanting to fulfill me sexually. So, do they really love me? That's how I feel, and I feel like if a person truly loves you, they're gonna do mostly in their power what they can to make sure you're good, make sure you're happy. It's not a one-way street. A woman is not supposed to sit on a throne, a pedestal all her life and be like, yeah, cater to me, do this to me, this. And true enough, Melly had to work. A lot of women don't want to give effort to men when they have to work so hard for things and they have to do things. And it's so crazy because a man who really cares for you, they will change. Like if you tell them, look, this is what I want, this is the kind of lifestyle I want, you gotta talk to them. You gotta let them know. If you don't want to work all your life, you don't want to work hard all your life, you gotta let them know. I had a person who tried to talk to me for years, like, we was friends, and stuff like that. But their work ethic was so trash, and I was embarrassed. I was insulted. They actually thought I wanted a relationship with them because it was times they even asked me for money, and like I found a skill in them, and I told them, look, you need to pursue that. You need this. Like I would never talk to you because of this, and it. The person changed, even though I've since told him off just because I'm petty like that and for other reasons, but the person changed. So you think like, oh, a person won't change. This is the way it is. But if you don't like something, and a man is claiming that they love you, they want to be with you, tell them what it is that you need from them, like genuinely. And if they really love and care for you, they will try to change. If not, then most of the time they'll move around. They'll go the other way. So I feel like the communication could have been off, and maybe Melody just wasn't able to convey certain things like she wanted to, or if she did convey things like he wasn't receiving them the way she wanted him to receive it, and it caused her to shut down. Because I do feel like at one time he was her all, her be all, her love of a lifetime. I just feel like it was just disappointment in there, and like she just, I guess, wanted more. I don't know. And she's turned out to be a genuine boss, and she's hold her own. Um, but yeah, so that's all I basically had to say and speak on the relationship, the situationship. I'm just glad that he took up for Ariane, because in that Ariane's been taking up for him. Ariane has been had his back behind the scenes, in my opinion, and I didn't feel like it was just a sexual thing with them. And I just want people to hear that and receive it. But I'm sure a lot of people won't receive it, and it just is what it is. You can't please everybody. But the truth is out there. I feel like he was being truthful. He spoke his facts, and how people want to take it, that's generally on them. Baby, your love like a fantasy. You're my hope and dreams. You changed me. Baby, your love just can't get enough. I want you to give